can remember everything very well, and it still gives me pain today when I think of the pains and sufferings of all of those children, adolescents, and women who complained to me of their powerlessness. The fact that I beat the crap out of 2 such scoundrels, when I caught them in a rape, still gives me satisfaction to this day. But something else, a doctor urged me to ask you if you could provide information about whether susceptibility to kidney stones is inheritable. In regards to these matters, quite insufficient insights still prevail among the earthly doctors, etc. Therefore, it would really be of importance if you could provide some enlightenment. You should also be certain of the thanks of the doctor. Quetzal says that is actually the case, yes. Susceptibility to kidney stones can be inheritable through a gene-contingent metabolic defect. Billy says, and what specific substances form kidney stones, or where do they come from? Quetzal says calcium oxalate stones, as kidney stones are called, are caused by several things, such as by foods. These include, among other things, vegetables such as beets, asparagus, rhubarb, nuts, and beetroots, garden beets, red beets, etc. However, other products are also to be mentioned, such as cocoa and cocoa products. Also, poor nutrition, deformities of the kidneys, as well as urinary obstruction and urinary tract infections can be causes for kidney stones. However, foods that contain a lot of oxalate are particularly the ones that form kidney stones. What is also significant in this regard is sugar, which is why sugar-rich foods and beverages, etc. shouldn't be enjoyed in excess but only in moderation and with a limit. Added to this is the liquid water, which plays a very important role, so that the toxins and, thus, also the excess oxalate are washed from the body. Therefore, it is essential that sufficient liquid is always drunk, but always only within the limits of what a person needs. And since no one is the same as another in this relation, one normally requires 2 to 3 liters of water per day, while another must only drink 2 or 3 deciliters in order to ensure the right balance of fluid for his body. With exertions or heat, this can change, of course, like also, for example, through illness and, thus, also through fever. Consequently, a greater need for fluid to be supplied can then develop. For your part, if I still want to come to speak on that, you one of those people who need very little fluid, and sometimes, less than a deciliter per day is enough, if your body absolutely requires any liquid at all. This is something that many misinformed people, even doctors, can't understand or don't want to understand because it simply goes over their heads. The reason for the low fluid needs of such people, as you are one of these, is to be found in the fact that there is a very high metabolism and, therefore, also a very good digestion and utilization as well as burning and conversion of the nutrients. Consequently, very few toxins are incurred, which don't burden the organism and which only sporadically have to be flushed out of the body again with very little liquid. This is also true, of course, for the food wastes that form in the intestines through the burning of nutrients, which are then excreted also sporadically as feces. What is still to be mentioned further with respect to the prevention or lower susceptibility to kidney stones in those who only drink small amounts of liquid is that they also have little food in their diet that is high in oxalates. Billy says, then I now have a question about the migraine, which afflicts so many Earth people. Can you tell me what triggering factors stand behind this? Quetzal says a migraine is triggered by stressful situations, that is, by stress that is caused physically, in consciousness, or psychologically. Such stressful situations can occur periodically, chronically, or sporadically, namely depending on how the person behaves in reference to the forms mentioned, so in consciousness, physically, or psychologically. Especially in psychological and consciousness-related terms, the resulting thoughts and feelings are of the utmost importance, since these determine the state of the psyche as well as the state of the consciousness. Another important factor is food that is also responsible for triggering a migraine, and to be sure, in the form when certain foods aren't tolerated by our person, as this is often the case, for example, with milk or milk products. Intolerable foods release physical stressful situations that can be controlled and processed by people susceptible to migraines just as little as also the psychological and consciousness-related stress factors that are produced. There may also be a predisposition to a migraine due to any health problems or a gene-contingent inheritance, whereby the aforementioned stressful situations are caused. It is also possible that organic or physical injuries, including all kinds of scarring, etc., can cause the release of a migraine, as well as allergies and certain diseases, by what means stressful situations can likewise be triggered. And as stated, those suffering from migraines aren't able to control, process, or overcome the stress appearing in various forms, which then even leads to sufferings and barely tolerable pains. Thus, all factors that lead to any stress should already be turned off in advance, of course, as far as possible. This has reference to work, to dealing with others and everyday life situations, as well as to food, with which all that is incompatible should be avoided. Influences for the occurrence of a migraine are also electromagnetic radiations that emanate from machines and electric cables, as well as from electric motors and from electrical appliances. In addition, a strong earth radiation can also be decisive for a migraine in certain cases, as well as static electricity that accumulates in certain materials of human achievements and that comes into direct contact with those who are susceptible to migraines. It is also to be said that people who are prone to migraines can also trigger these through medicines that are incompatible for them, herbs, aromas, and odors, and also through drinks that are harmful to them, as well as through personal care products like soap, balm, lotion, shampoo, and cream, etc. Also a variety of oils, greases, and liquids, as well as chemicals can be triggers for migraines, if they come in contact with the skin or with the mucous membranes or the internal organs. Billy says that's tremendous, everything that plays a role there. Our medical science still knows nothing or only very little about that. And it will surely still take some time before it gets behind all these facts. May this be soon, because for those who are befallen to migraines, their condition is a hell. Quetzal says that is correct, but unfortunately, it will still take many years before the earthly scientists recognize the decisive important things through their research efforts and then find the necessary means and ways to be able, then, to remove the migraine evil at last. Billy says, and of course, those who have befallen to migraines, then, must also contribute their part to this, through their mental work and through the feelings arising from this, I mean in terms of healing. Because if I understood correctly, then this cooperation is, indeed, necessary. Quetzal says this cooperation is, in fact, necessary because a lot depends on the thoughts and feelings and, thus, on the psychological state, at least still for now, since still no medicines are found or still no genetic engineering is created, by which all factors of migraine production could be eliminated permanently. Unfortunately, the way and the necessary remedies still haven't been found in the earthly medicine, and it will still take some time before this happens. Billy says then once again, I have a question regarding the pre-Columbian Nazca Indian culture, that is the Nazca Indians, who resided in the valleys and areas of Nazca, Ica and Piasco and who made gigantic geoglyphs in the desert plain, which have remained up to this day. I asked about these once before, and I was told that these pictures concern astrology gardens. But in addition to this, I mean to this explanation, it was then later noted that the real purpose of this huge layout of geoglyphs didn't just serve for astrology. But then, unfortunately, no further explanation was given to this because I didn't continue to ask about it. I would like to do that now with this. What now is the actual purpose of these giant pictures? Quetzal says the Nazca geoglyphs, as you call them, at the time of the Nazca culture, formed a large ritual site in their entirety. Therefore, one can speak of a ritual garden, of an astrology ritual garden, or of a ritual area or rather a ritual landscape. The rituals carried out there corresponded to faith-related,